get going here. These should be short episodes. Oddly enough, the comic book episode should be longer than the sci-fi episode. Figure that one out. It's just the sign of the times. Just isn't a plethora of news to go with. So I gotta go with the news I have. And I don't want to report on things like, things aren't real news. Which seems like a lot of news sites are just filling it up with fans react to or fans want. Well, that's not news. That's just, speculation, hearsay. And I try to stay away from speculation, hearsay. I try to, stick to actual news. If I'm going to give speculation, hearsay, it's going to be from, my thoughts, not, comicbook.com or Deadline or some other sites. So, anyway, get everything lined up here. And let's see, my levels are good. If I look a little better lit, it's because I have a new toy. I got myself an Elgato Streamlight Air. So now I have two lights. I have a round halo light on my left, and on my right here I have the Streamlight. And so I've been trying to balance out my light so I'm a little bit better lit. I don't want to be overlit because I am a white guy, so I'll reflect light like crazy. But from what I see, it works better. So maybe it'll be a better product, or maybe it'll just be me spending money. That's basically the only thing I'm spent my stimulus on. The rest of my stimulus is probably going for a car. Saving up for that, because I have no idea how long that Dodge Neon has, but I'm pretty sure it's probably not going to be 3 years. So, I'm hoping that they pass, more stimulus, I mean, they're talking about like $2,000 a month for 6 months, for up to 6 months. It's like, that'd be perfect. I'd pay off a car. I could get the car now and just keep paying $2,000 on it. Even if they stopped after 3 months, I would have most of that car paid off. I would have a better car that would last longer. So I'm all for that. Anyway, let's get started here. Get to the right screen. All right. There's my cha-cha. One last thing I want to hit here. All right, let's hit record here. Tonight, Rosario Dawson wants to do Trek, George Takei has a message for you, and Universal wants to make something green. All that and more on this edition of Multiverse Tonight. Comic books, sci-fi, fantasy, and more. If you're looking for a roundup of geeky news, you're in the right place. This is Multiverse Tonight. And here's your host, Thomas Townley. Hello everyone, welcome to the sci-fi edition of Multiverse Tonight. I'm your host, Thomas Townley, and I hope you're doing well. I've been busy. I have a new position at work, which is why we're now going to be recording these on Monday afternoon instead of Tuesday. So if you're around Mondays, but sometime between 1 and 3 o'clock, check Twitter. We stream this on Twitch, Facebook, and Mixer and other platforms. So be sure to hop in and you can give me your thoughts. I might not respond to them directly during the broadcast, but I'll probably do it in between segments or something. As an essential worker, let me point something out. Please stay home unless you absolutely need something. I've seen a lot of people this past week at my store essentially just shopping because they're bored. And you can always tell the ones who are shopping because they're bored because they have no mask, they don't really seem to have a list, they're just lazily going about their business. Oh, here's something. Oh, should we get one of these? Oh, let's get one of these. And they're not really, shopping with any need to get out of the store real quick. Well, folks, this pandemic is still here. We don't have a cure for it yet. We don't have a vaccine for it. And in an enclosed space like a store, transmission is probably really, could be really good. If someone comes in that has it and they cough, that stuff is going to go, 2 aisles over. So just stay home if at all possible. Go home, find something on TV, fix up your house. Don't go to the store unless you absolutely need something essential. Other than that, we're doing fine. Let me bring up that PSA. See if I can. No, not gonna work for me. Actually, I probably have it loaded up in a different thing. Anyway, be sure to wash your hands for 20 seconds. Now, while we're washing our hands for 20 seconds, let's go on with the Star Trek news. Rosario Dawson is really on a roll. She just finished up this limited run series called Briar Patch on the USA Network, but she's eyeing 2 sci-fi franchises to add to her bucket list. Now, speaking with Variety's after show, Rosario told them, quote, "The 2 universes, Star Trek and Star Wars, I get in those 2. I'm telling you, man, that's it. I will just retire. And then I can just concentrate on going to school and running for office. That would be it," unquote. Now, she's already rumored to have been cast as Ahsoka Tano in Star Wars, but what role in Star Trek would be good enough for Rosario Dawson? Well, she has some ideas. She floated that even though she'd be perfectly happy playing a background character like a Romulan or a Vulcan, she would really like to be a Q. Quote, "I mean, it would be great because then I could jump on Discovery. I could be on Picard. I just want to be with Jean-Luc Picard," unquote. It could be interesting. I don't know if it'd work exactly. Perhaps they should have that character debut on the animated show Lower Decks first. Have her character show up there, and the crew ignores her, and so she goes, "You know what? I'm going somewhere else." Blink, and she shows up on in the background of Discovery or something. Anyway, that could be an interesting setup. So time to time, it's fun to check in with Jonathan Frakes. Frakes is a great person. He's a great con guest, and he was guest at the GalaxyCon live show, and revealed that he has directed 3 episodes of Discovery Season 2, and he contrasted that with how fans have responded to the Next Generation and how they've reacted to Discovery and Picard, saying, quote, "With Discovery, which I was privileged to be part of and still am, it was a similar vibe when that show came out. They didn't want to find room in their hearts for another Star Trek, which there clearly is. One of the reasons that was not a factor in the launching of Picard was that the hardcore fans loved Picard and were inclined to look forward to the show and look forward to having him and look forward to whatever story, because they knew him and they knew who he was. I think the familiarity with all fandom is so important. It is like the canon of these shows. They want a touch point. And it's important. And it clearly worked because Picard is wonderful," unquote. He also added that even though they're critical of Picard, they're watching to make sure they hate it. Which, works either way for CBS. Love it, hate it, just as long as you're watching, CBS makes the money. So, there you go. And on direct, his directing is one thing, but how about a return to acting? Quote, "It was a thrill to be asked back as an actor. Nerve-wracking, but a thrill. I thought Marina was astounding when Picard came to our home in Nepenthe. Spectacular," unquote. And here's hoping that we get to see him and Marina come back to the roles for Picard Season 2. We've already heard rumors of, possibly another actor joining the show next season, so, anything is possible. And now, George Takei.
Hello, George Takei here. These are challenging times when everyone, in one way or another, is affected by the pandemic. Despite the darkness of this moment, however, we will overcome and survive. I have a sure, upbeat development to share with writers and content creators. My friends at the Roddenberry Foundation and A Day of Unreasonable Conversation are announcing Roddenberry Impact Awards. 10 grants of $10,000 will be given to those of you who are working on increasing diversity on television, developing more authentic characters, and whose ideas can help lead to a future that is more equal and just. Boldly go where you've never gone before. Apply today and use the power of storytelling to create a world you want to live in.
That's the Roddenberry Foundation Impact Awards, and you can see that announcement over on YouTube. We'll have a link to it in our show notes, and go from there. Thank you very much, George. Stay well. Outlive Shatner. Now, do you need some Trek to watch? Paramount will be holding a virtual screening of Star Trek II on April 25th. Each virtual screening will allow viewers to watch and interact via text and video with other fans and the hosts of the screening, the Inglorious Treksperts podcast. Mark Altman and Dare Darcherman, who will introduce the movie and hold a Q&A afterwards. You can participate via the CYA app on Apple or Android, or via a Chrome browser on PC. It only costs $1.99 and can be purchased at cya.live. That's cya.live. And, I mentioned that actor who wants to be in the next season of Picard. LeVar Burton is hoping very much that he gets the call to appear in season 2 of Picard. Burton told Entertainment Weekly, quote, "I think it's responsible to assume that those people are part of Picard's life. Well, what the hell? Absolutely. You'll see us all. I suggested to the producers that we find Geordi in a position where he's teaching, passing his knowledge on to other people. We'll see. Alex Kurtzman and the folks in charge are doing an amazing job. When they call whatever it is they want me to do, I'm pretty sure it's going to be spectacular. Unquote. Now, I'd very much like to see Geordi. Now, in the books, of course, he's in charge of the Starfleet Corps of Engineers. So, perhaps at this point in his life, he's teaching engineering at the academy after the destruction of the shipyards of the Utopia Planitia shipyards. Who knows? Or perhaps he's retired to a colony somewhere. Or perhaps maybe he followed Scotty's advice and he kept himself on the bridge of in the engineering room of a ship. Anyway, let's go on to the Star Wars news. The crisp, clean feel of Star Wars. Star Wars Day, May the 4th, is a little less than a month away, and though a lot of us might still be stuck inside with a stay-at-home order, doesn't mean we can't celebrate with some new content. First up, Disney Plus will be airing the series finale of Star Wars The Clone Wars, with teasers showing the showdown on Mandalore. Ahsoka voice actress Ashley Eckstein talked to Comic Book Nation about the end, saying, quote, "I've been reading a lot of people's comments, and everyone wants to make the jump to the Siege of Mandalore. I mean, we've been waiting for that ever since Clone Wars was canceled at the end of Season 5. Thankfully, because of Star Wars Rebels, we know that Ahsoka lives. We know that she survives, but we don't know how or why or what happened. So I had all those same questions, so I understand why everyone wants to jump straight to it. You really need the Siege of Mandalore to understand everything that happens in the Skywalker saga. It's pretty incredible." Unquote. And also out on that day will be a documentary on the making of the hit series The Mandalorian called Disney Gallery, The Mandalorian. The new 8-episode documentary series follows executive producer Jon Favreau as he invites the cast and crew of The Mandalorian to share a look at what went into the making of the groundbreaking program. Each episode of Disney Gallery will pull back the curtain on a different aspect of The Mandalorian, showing everyone how the first live-action Star Wars series came to life. There will even be never-before-seen footage and roundtables with the creative team. The first episode will air on May the 4th, with new episodes being released every Friday. So no binge watching for you. Sorry, folks. The Star Wars Rogue One spin-off series looks like it's gained Thor actor Stellan Skarsgård, according to Variety. Also joining the cast is new actor Kyle Soler. What roles either actor will play is not known at this time, and their contracts are not yet final. The series is set to come to Disney Plus next year, and there still has been no confirmation, of when the series will come out. So we're still kind of in a holding pattern on news. The classic game, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, is coming to PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch on May the 4th. The game will be the same as the original, but with modernized controls, higher resolution models, and trophies exclusively on PlayStation. Aspire's VP of Publishing said in a statement about the release, quote, "Star Wars fans can soon go full throttle with Asper's update to the classic fan favorite Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. The beloved game has been modernized for the most optimal gaming experience on Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4. Star Wars fans should get ready to steer the racer to victory and leave their opponents in the dust." Unquote. I don't remember if I played that game or not. I think I did way back on Nintendo 64. So, if it's the right, if it's a good price, if it's a decent price, maybe that'd be worth picking up. After all, people always say the pod racing was the best part of the prequel trilogy, right? Right? Anyway, let's go on with the geek news. Paramount has delayed Mark Wahlberg's sci-fi movie Infinite from August 7th, 2020 to May 28th, 2021. The movie stars Mark as a man who discovers his hallucinations are actually visions from past lives. He meets a group called the Infinites who unlock the memories of his past lives in the hopes he can thwart an Infinite who has a terrible plan for humanity. The movie is based on the novel The Reincarnationist Papers. I guess time will tell if this movie is any good. I've never thought that Mark Wahlberg has had a great track record with sci-fi. Huh? What? Huh? What? What? Huh? And onwards. Bloodshot filmmaker David S.F. Wilson has been tapped to direct the sci-fi film Influx for Sony Pictures. The movie, based on the 2014 book of the same name by Daniel Suarez, is about a physicist who is locked away in a high-tech prison just as he is about to make a huge breakthrough. He discovers that a hidden organization has been taking technological advances for themselves, keeping them out of the hands of the rest of the world. So he and his fellow prisoners try to fight back. No release date is given. That sounds interesting. Kind of sounds like, the story of Icarus and Daedalus. The old Greek myth. Yeah. Hopefully no wax wings in this. Of course, given the sci-fi, it could be science fiction with wax wings. And on to our next story. I told you there's not a lot of news, so I gotta make stuff up, in between the stories. Universal is looking to make a Green Hornet and Kato feature film. The company has optioned the rights to the characters after Amazia Entertainment won the motion picture franchise rights back in January. Universal Pictures president Peter Kramer said, quote, "The Green Hornet is one of the most iconic and beloved superhero tales ever created, and it has entertained generations of fans in every form of storytelling. We're thrilled to be partnering with Michael, Bradley, and the entire Amazia team to launch an exciting new cinematic world for Britt Reed, Kato, and the Black Beauty. And we can't wait to share it with global audiences soon," unquote. Now, you may remember the last Green Hornet movie starred Seth Rogen and made around $228 million worldwide. It unfortunately was not a critical, hit. But it did fairly well. The Green Hornet isn't the only property Amazia is producing. They're also making the Dark Shadows Reincarnation series for Warner Brothers TV. Well, I'd like me some Dark Shadows. That'll be kind of interesting. Now, here's a true hero. Tom Hanks and his wife, Rita Wilson, are now survivors of COVID-19. And as again, we're all very thankful that they survived. Tom was a guest on the National Defense Radio Show and talked about his and wife Rita's experience with the virus, saying, quote, "Rita went through a tougher time than I did. She had a much higher fever. She lost her sense of taste and smell. She got absolutely no joy from food for a better part of 3 weeks," unquote. Now, according to Mr. Hanks, he had milder symptoms consisting mainly of body aches and perpetual fatigue. Again, we are all glad that they survived. We need Tom Hanks now more than ever. And that brings us to the end of the sci-fi news. Now, be sure to check us out on social media. We're at Twitter at Multiverse Tom. We're also on Facebook and Instagram as well. And if you'd like to contribute some money, please visit mtpodcast.com to go to our Coffee, Patreon, and our glow.fm links. And just go over to Multiverse Tonight and hit the Support Me link at the top of the page. And be sure to visit multiversetonight.com to check out the affiliate marketplace links, the link to our TeePublic store, our show notes, and so much more. Thanks for watching the comic book edition of Multiverse Tonight. Thanks for watching the sci-fi edition of Multiverse Tonight. We'll be back in just a couple of weeks with in just a couple of days with a brand new comic book edition. Now, please exit the universe in an orderly fashion. Good night. Multiverse Tonight is a production of Half Baked Genre Productions, copyright 2020, all rights reserved. Let me check the recording here real quick. I don't want to have to go all the way through that to find out the darn thing to record. There's my happy face, and record for 21 minutes. Just wondering one thing real quick here, real quick. Indulge me. All those out there watching the replay. Yeah, that George Takei thing didn't. For some reason, it didn't play through the thing here. So I'm going to have to rip the audio from the video during when I edit it, which is okay. Yeah, that's usually not a hardness. But I'm glad that the episode recorded. That's all I'm worried about. Oop. Now I gotta get us back to square one, don't I? Not that I'm sure any of you want to see my face anyway. This is called being self-deprecating. I'm gonna refill my glass here. So I'll be right back. I'm sure that sound of the computer is probably more entertaining than I am. Let us switch our mini deck here. And I think we're ready. Ready to proceed with the comic book edition. Get out on it, get down on it, bump it up. Say, does anyone here know how to medicine? Alright, let's get to go in here. Tonight, J.J. Abrams wants to go into the Dark Justice League business. Sam Raimi goes into the strange business. And Todd McFarlane gives his plans for the comics business. All that and more on this edition of Multiverse Tonight. Comic books, sci-fi, fantasy, and more. If you're looking for a roundup of geeky news, you're in the right place. This is Multiverse Tonight. And here's your host, Thomas Townley. Hello everyone and welcome to the comic book edition of Multiverse Tonight, episode 73. And I'm your host, Thomas Townley, of course. Not a ton of news to report. If you're looking for a short episode, this might be it. This actually, scratch that. The comic book edition might have more news than the sci-fi edition. Sci-fi edition only had 20 minutes of news. This actually, I've been able to add a few stories here and there, so we'll give it a shot. We have a big con cancellation in the news today, and I'd like to share a small con cancellation that's very near and dear to me, and has also been canceled this year. The Smallville Con in Hutchinson, Kansas. Yep, they've decided the risk wasn't worth it this year, and I hate to agree. I was going to have a table there this year, but I'll just move that to next year, so I'll already be one step ahead. Hey, look at that. I'm already one step ahead for next year. That's good news for me. Now again, if you don't have to be out and about, don't be out and about. I'm an essential worker. I have to work in retail to make my money. If you don't have to be there, don't be there. But while we're, let's forget about that for a while and start with some comic book news. Let's start with some DC news. How about that? Now, we'll start with some breaking news. The Batman has been moved back from its spot on the June 2021 calendar to October 1st, 2021. Now, this isn't the only DC movie that has been moved back. The Flash movie and the hard to say, new teeth. Shazam 2 have been moved from their original release dates as well. The Flash will now open 1 month later, moving from June 3rd, 2022 to July 4th, 2022. And Shazam 2 gets a big push from April 1st, 2022 to November 4th, 2022. Now, anyone want to share a guess on if this crisis keeps going, that they'll just bypass theaters altogether and send these both to HBO Max instead? Yeah, I'll take that bet. Actually, I'm sure theaters will be open by then. Surely they'll have a handle on this COVID crisis by then. We hope. Anyway, J.J. Abrams, who some see as a villain, me personally, I'm ambivalent. He's done good stuff. He's done really stupid stuff. It's all, half a dozen of one, half a dozen of the other. Has been confirmed to be getting a crack at a chance the crack into the DC universe as one of his first projects with Warner Brothers. It's said that he's going to be making a Justice League Dark series for their new streaming service, HBO Max. This is in addition to his Shining spin-off, Overlook, and his original series called Duster. In a statement, HBO Max Chief Content Officer Kevin Riley said, quote, "What an amazing start to our association with the wildly imaginative Bad Robot team under JJ and Katie. What could be better than an original JJ idea and then Warner Brothers laying them loose on iconic IP from Stephen King and the DC Universe, and to provide more must-have programming on HBO Max," unquote. Now, it should be noted that Abrams isn't the first to take a crack at Justice League Dark. He follows in the footsteps of Guillermo del Toro. That version, which was going to be a movie, ceased to be after the poor performance of all the other DCEU movies. I don't know why they just couldn't try it anyway. Who knows? Guillermo del Toro's could have been very interesting, or it could have been very bad. Again, he's kind of 50-50 too, isn't he? More delay news. Yeah, we're getting a lot of delay news nowadays. Black Adam star Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson confirmed in an Instagram video that filming is delayed due to the coronavirus shutdown. It was originally scheduled to start filming this summer, in early summer, but now we'll have to start in August or September. Dwayne said, quote, "We still plan on shooting probably at the end of summer now, probably pushed into the end of August or September. That is a project I hold near and dear to my heart, and so I can't wait to get started," unquote. Are you at home waiting on this movie? I'm waiting to see what he looks like in the costume. I'm waiting to see a trailer before I really get excited for this. I'm hopeful that's about it. Now, some good news, though. Something other than, coronavirus ate my movie. James Gunn's The Suicide Squad is ahead of schedule, according to the director, and should not have to delay its release date. Taking to Twitter, Mr. Gunn assured everyone that, quote, "Right now, there's no reason for the Suicide Squad release date to move. We are on or ahead of schedule. We were extremely fortunate to wrap shooting and set up editing from our homes, due to a post-production team and studio with foresight before quarantine," unquote. The Suicide Squad is due in theaters on August 6th, 2021. So let's go over that. August 6th, 2021, Suicide Squad. So before that, so after that is the Batman. So I got the Suicide Squad, then the Batman. That could be interesting, the compare and contrast, I guess. Now, have you gone to, when you've gone to a store, have you seen the tie-in products for films that now aren't coming to theaters right away, or have you ever been pushed way back? Maybe they've gone ahead and released them, digitally, stuff like that. Myself, I've seen the action figures for the Black Widow movie already, and Doritos bags advertising Wonder Woman 84. Apparently, another tie-in for that movie will be a new sweet tart candy based on Wonder Woman's Golden Lasso. Tropical punch flavored golden ropes. The soft and chewy sweet tart ropes will be out in stores next month. Yep, candy, sweet tart ropes. And it's just not very interesting to me, but I could see it. I guess if you tied them, they would actually be lassos. Otherwise, they're just ropes. A rope is a rope until you tie it. Anyway, as I said, I have to search where I have to for anything that counts as news. Let's go on to the Marvel news. Sam Raimi will be taking on another Marvel superhero. The director has confirmed that he will be replacing Scott Derrickson as the director of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Speaking to journalists on the conference call, Raimi said, quote, "I loved Doctor Strange as a kid, but he was always after Spider-Man and Batman for me. He was probably at number 5 for me on great comic book characters. He was so original, but when he had that moment in Spider-Man 2, I had no idea that he would ever be making a Doctor Strange movie. So it was really funny to me that coincidentally that line was in the movie. I gotta say, I wish we had the foresight to know that I was going to be involved in the project," unquote. Now, production on the sequel is now delayed because of the coronavirus crisis. Now, that delay has moved it back from May 2021 to November of 2021. Now, that production halt at Marvel has been so bad that Marvel Entertainment has started furloughing some of its staff starting on this week on April 26th. And how long or how many has yet to be revealed. You know, my thoughts are with all those who have been furloughed. You know, consider this a vacation. You know, try not to consider this as something bad. Consider this as something good. You can go home. You can work on stuff. You know, finish your honey-do lists. You know, don't watch the news. Don't watch the news, or at least watch very little. However, it's not all bad news for Marvel fans. The final season of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is right around the corner. The American Broadcasting Company has announced that Season 7 will begin airing on Wednesday, May 27th. The 7th season sees Coulson and the agents stranded in 1931 New York City. And hilarity ensues? I don't know. Anyway, that's it for Marvel news. Let's go over to the geek news. Diamond Comic Distributors is hoping to restart its distribution sometime around the middle to the late part of May. In a letter to retailers, publishers, and others, they said, quote, "While there are many steps and conversations that need to happen between today and resuming distribution of new weekly product, we are currently targeting mid to late May with the hope that, as an industry, we can all work together. We can all work toward that time frame. Of course, as we have all seen, target dates sometimes need to be adjusted in this ever-changing new normal, but we cannot wait for firm dates. We have started the planning process and are having these important conversations with publishers and retailers, so that once we have more clarity, we are in a position to restart and scale operations over time," unquote. Now, Diamond has been shut down since March 25th. Now, apparently, DC Comics has their own plans to get back in the publishing game, having revealed in a press release that they will resume publishing monthly issues to be out on April 28th. So I guess Diamond and DC have some talking to. And according, the latest reports from that are they will be using DCBS and Midtown Comics as their distributors. So, but nothing has been completely set in stone. Again, I'm sure Diamond and DC are going to have to hash this out. Meanwhile, comic book shops all over are hurting, and comic creators are reaching out to give a helping hand. YA novelist Gwenda Bond, Teen Titans Raven author Cami Garcia, Superman and Action Comics writer Brian Michael Bendis, Harley Quinn writer Sam Humphries, and writer-artist Phil Jimenez are working with other creators for a Twitter auction. Creators run their own auctions by tweeting under the hashtag creators4comics. You bid on each auction in the thread for the item, and the winning bidder donates directly to the Book Industry Charitable Fund. Now, just go over to creators, the letter 4comics.com for all the details, and we'll have that link in our show notes. So just go over there, click on the link, and check out who's up for auction. Now, also, Jim Starlin is making a return to comics 3 years after he retired his pencils due to health issues. Mr. Starlin is already working on Dreadstar Returns, a graphic novel revival of a character that he wrote and drew back in the 80s for various publishers. This time, it will be from Ominous Press, and he's launched a crowdfunding campaign to ensure its completion. In an email to the Hollywood Reporter, he told them, quote, 3 years back, I suffered some pretty serious damage to my right hand and left eye in a compressed air explosion. After I healed, I found the eye worked well enough, but again the hand would cramp up terribly after only about 15 minutes drying with it. After 3 years of squeezing a rubber ball and other rehabilitation exercises, I'm now good for a couple of hours without taking a break. So I decided it was time to go back and visit with my old pal Dreadstar, unquote. Now the Kickstarter has already been successfully funded, and as of the recording of this episode, has about 20 days to go. We'll have a link to it in our show notes. Also, Todd McFarlane has a plan to help the comics industry through the COVID-19 crisis. The legendary Spawn creator has talked to Forbes saying, quote, I think the industry needs a consistent message. Whatever that message is, right or wrong, we need to be consistent, even if we have to adjust it. But we really need to speak with one voice, not 4 or 5 different publishers running 4 or 5 different programs and methodologies, unquote. Now, he went on to say that if he was in charge, he would have the industry's biggest companies, Marvel, DC, Image, and Dark Horse, stand as a united front with free digital downloads in order to hook new readers, as well as keep the old readers engaged with the industry. He would then have several big events to give people a reason to come back to stores, with each company getting a turn in the spotlight. So DC running one for a little bit, Marvel running the next one, Dark Horse running the next one, Image running the next one, so forth, so on. So you get all these companies back working. I think Todd might be on to something here. Now, too bad you won't get these companies to want to work together. The corporate powers that be don't mesh. They're oil and water. But perhaps if we all work on getting their attention, they might want to work together. So come on, people. Just tweet at them. Everyone get together. Find one hashtag. Tweet at DC. Tweet at Marvel. Tweet at Image and Dark Horse, and try to get all these companies on the same page. In the meantime, Mr. McFarlane's Spawn action figure Kickstarter has hit and surpassed $1 million. As of the writing, it's reached $1.6 million. Now, pledging $40 will get you a 7-inch action figure of Spawn with classic costume and mask, folding cape, weapons, base, and over 20 moving parts. Plus new original comic art by the creator himself, Todd McFarlane, a resealable clamshell, and the collector box and slipcover for protection and display. Now, Todd has also added 4 stretch goals, and they've all been hit. So look for a link to it in our show notes, or just go on Kickstarter and look for Spawn Masterworks. Yeah, it looks good. If I was still an action figure collecting, I'd be interested. But I have too many action figures sitting in a box in the back of the house. Maybe I should auction those off at some point. Maybe. I'll think about it. Adult Swim has released its 2020 premiere slate. And starting first on May 3rd, Rick and Morty. On May 10th, The Shivering Truth. Also on May 10th, J.J. Villiard's Fairy Tales. In summer 2020, we'll bring YOLO, Crystal Fantasy, Dream Core LLC, a new season of Robot Chicken, 12-Ounce Mouse, and Tender Touches. And in fall 2020, look for Jim Museto's Machu Picchu, Gendy Tartakovsky's Primal, Tigtone, and Laser Wolf. That's good. We need content, need input. Now, you've seen how serious things are. The comic book convention I hold near and dear has been canceled, and here's a con that a lot of people hold near and dear. It's the largest comic book con in America. Well, that might be argued, but anyway, the San Diego Comic-Con for the year 2020 has been canceled. And also its sister con, WonderCon Anaheim, has also been canceled. San Diego has rescheduled for July 22nd to the 25th, 2021, and WonderCon 2021 will be March 26th through 28th, 2021. Now this is the first time in 50 years that the San Diego Comic-Con has been canceled. Now, people who have already purchased their badges for this year will have the option of either a refund or they can transfer it to the 2021 con. And if you want to be in the Hall H panel, lines open right now. Get on it. Yeah, you will never probably ever catch me at the San Diego Comic-Con. That's if you have anxiety being around thousands of people like that, you don't want to go to anything like that. I would pay for a digital viewing, be able to just download and watch panels as they air, but I don't want to actually go there. And we end with a little bit sad news. Voice actor Danny Goldman has passed away at the age of 80. Now, Danny was a longtime character and voice actor. He was in Young Frankenstein as the questioning medical student who questioned him about his grandfather's work. That's Frankenstein. And he was also in the Smurfs as Brainy Smurf and King Smurf, as well as having appearances in Batman the Animated Series, Mighty Max, Get Smart Again, Crystal Mines, Robot Chicken, The New Scooby-Doo Mysteries, Chips, and much, much more. He passed away in Los Angeles on April 12th. And that will bring us to the end of the comic book news. Now, please be sure to check us out on social media. We're at Twitter, at Multiverse Tom. We're also on Facebook and Instagram as well. And if you'd like to donate to our Ko-fi or Patreon or even our Glow.fm links, just go over to Multiverse Tonight and hit the Support Me link at the top of the page. And be sure to visit multiversetonight.com to check out the affiliate marketplace links, the link to the TeePublic store, the show notes, and the occasional column, which I really should sit down and write a new column. It's time. But I never have ideas when I sit down. They always vanish. Now, if you're a subscriber, please be sure to share us with your friends. And if you're brand new to the show, please be sure to subscribe and leave us with some feedback. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know how you're doing. I want to care. I want you to consider this kind of a little community. If we get enough people to come together, you have a community. And I would love to talk sci-fi comic books with you, and maybe play a little Animal Crossing if you're into that. But anyway, special thanks to Shane Ivers for our intro music and Lobo Loco for the outro theme music. Now, thanks for watching the comic book edition of Multiverse Tonight. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a brand new sci-fi edition, followed by another comic book edition. Now, please exit the universe in an orderly fashion. Good night. Multiverse Tonight is a production of Half Baked Genre Productions. Copyright 2020. All rights reserved.